how we all doing tonight? I went back and reviewed my live stream, and yeah, there are a lot more cryptids in those woods in the extra 200 acres that I did explore them. I just walked through myself because when I'm out there, I can't, for the life of me, get a good live stream feed. Um, my camera pixelates, and it doesn't usually do that. I lost battery power in both my cameras, and I'm looking at my phone and everything. Um, I have found out that there are more cryptids besides Sasquatch in those woods. In my intro, in my original intro, the one with the arch in it, there are two cryptids under a log that no one can tell me what they are because no one's ever seen them before. Um, and my boss told me there was a lot more activity. He actually seen them. This one creature, he said it was about 8 feet tall and was big. It was huge. It walked up to the house. He has a big picture when it walked in and just put his, he said his paw on the window and looked at him. Didn't try to come through it. Didn't try to break the glass or anything. And he was staring this creature straight face to face, but having the glass between them. And I said, paw. And he said the thing had a beak and pointed ears. That sounds like a dog man. I've never heard of a dog man being this far south. Now, they say when the feeding is good. Now, there's a lot of deer and turkey around in this part of the state. Um, and they ask why Sasquatch, Dogman, and all the other cryptids are moving more south and more, more into the United States than they have before. Okay, the best explanation I can give for that, my opinion, would be that ever since computers came out in the 1990s, deer hunting and turkey hunting and hunting of any kind has declined 75%. The younger generation want nothing to do with it. And that would allow the deer and the turkeys and all the other creatures to mate and multiply and become abundant. And wherever the feeding is good, you're going to get the apex predators. Now, I have gotten prints back there in the woods. I got them on my channel on the community post. Big 18-inch prints. I know Sasquatch is back there. I know these little creatures that some people call Ewoks are back there. We don't know exactly what those things are. They're only seen once in a while. Now, according to my boss, dogmen are around. And dogmen, when they make themselves I'm just wondering if those growls I heard that day in the woods, was dogmen sneaking up on me, because dogmen aren't afraid to come out during the day and attack a human. They ain't standoffish like Bigfoot is. Bigfoot will attack, but he will be standoffish, and then he will eye you up and see how easy he can take you down. Dogmen don't care. They're all aggression. So, there's a lot going on in those woods, and on that 200 acres he has, there's a lot of it. I found on the rest of the 200 acres I went exploring on, I found some caves. Never the caves are more of burrows and more holes in the ground, but they would be considered caves. They're big enough for a Sasquatch to get in. They're big enough for, obviously, if that's what my boss seen was a dogman to hide out during the day. Because all these animals that we talk about and we hunt and we try to prove exist, are nighttime feeders. And dogmen will actually take and hunt during the day. A lot of times, um, they've been known to attack, burrows and stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot more going on out. There's definitely some kind of spiritual ghost or something in the woods up by the house where those grave sites are. But I won't show the exact grave sites on the video. I kind of got a respect for the, dead and Native American people that were buried there because, even though someone else owns the land now, I just got, even if when I do a ghost video. Now, if I'm in a regular graveyard where there's tombstones all over the place, fine. I'll show the tombstones, the grave sites and stuff. But when they're out in the woods, they were putting out in the woods with no markings uh, for a reason, to be at peace. So by me putting on my video, that's exploiting them, I mean, there were markings that were there because there were piles of rocks, and they were as long as a human, so. And, of course, there's a lot more burial plots in that area than those two. I mean, over on the rest of the 200 acres I went exploring, and I found a ton. There's a whole grave site, a whole graveyard up the other side of the creek, and he owns the other side of the creek or the stream or whatever, And these cryptids, they use the creeks and the streams as the roadways. And I think the dogmen follow the Bigfoot because Bigfoot know where to go. They rationalize stuff, and the dogmen, we don't know much about dogmen. We know they're out there. We know they're aggressive, but we don't know the study. No one's ever studied a dogman because anyone who's tried has never come back. Has never come back from the woods. Now, I will be going back out there, but I'm not going to go back out there alone. He said after my live stream that night, the night after that, whatever in those woods had become more active, more aggressive. They show themselves more. That'd be great for a video. But to go out there by myself, even armed, I really don't stand a chance. Because remember, these animals act on animal instinct. They don't rationalize much. Now, a Sasquatch, he will rationalize a little bit. But dogmen, we don't know even how they think, or we can't begin to ponder how they rationalize, or they just attack. And if they do, I mean, there's no way I would ever survive by myself. Now, during the day, I might shoot a video and walk through the woods. If it's in the morning, mid-morning, maybe around noon, I'll go in the woods. I got no problem with it. When it gets toward afternoon to evening, I will not go in the woods by myself. That's a suicide run. Yes, I've been in situations like that before, but you gotta remember, them situations, I was armed to the teeth. I was armed 100%. I had weapons and some kind of defense. When I go in the woods now, I don't carry nothing. I really don't. I try not to. So, I am looking at tons of research, and I want to try to find people around here to help me understand what all the creatures are out there, because I know from what my boss says, there's tons of other cryptids out there that have yet to be identified, like the ones that were in my intro. My original intro, the one with a tree on it, it does shake me up a little bit. I don't know what those white flashes were or that mist was I seen. It's pretty interesting. I'm in an area now that all I wanted to do was see a Bigfoot, maybe get one on video, and now I'm coming across 2 or 3 or 4 other cryptids that I have seen in the past. But I've never seen all these cryptids in one area. The Sasquatch would literally fight these other apex predators for territory, and I didn't hear none of that happen. Apparently none of that is happening if what my boss seen was a dogman. Or maybe it happened already, because he did call me late last night, or early this morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, saying he's hearing a bunch of growling and type of screaming sort of in the woods and stuff, growling like someone's fighting out there. So they could be fighting for territory if that's the case. Depending on how many dogmen there are versus how many Sasquatch there are, depends on who wins. So my next time out in the woods is going to be very risky because I don't know whose territory it's going to be. Is it going to be Mr. Dogman's or Mr. Bigfoot? I'm in a situation where it's going to be extremely dangerous. I think what I'm going to do is when I film out there, I have a helmet I wear, a bicycle helmet I wear when I do my bicycle videos. I think I'm going to wear that and put the GoPro on top of that, and that way my hands are free and I can film with that, and I can walk through and maybe shoot a small video and see what's back there. And like I said, I'm going mid-afternoon or evening. I'm going morning or mid-morning, but before noon, maybe around noon, 1 o'clock at the latest. So it's just thought I'd let you know what I have found. It's a very interesting place back in there. So far, my boss has not really been bothered. He's seen them. They've come up to the house. They never came up to the house before until I went out there. I think it was me knocking on the tree. And I think I keep telling people that was a mistake, and this is the reason why. Never knock on trees. You stir stuff up. I did that not realizing that there was actually other cryptids out there that, other cryptids. I guess the dogmen go by knocks on, they knock on trees too, but they mean it for a totally different reason. But I don't know much about them. I'm only speculating. Don't knock on trees. If you want to knock something together, take 2 rocks and clap them together. The rocks are more sharper sound, and it's like, basically that's when you're trying to find location. Never knock on trees. But I'm gonna have to go back out there one of these days and take you guys with me and figure out what's going on out there. And I believe there are other cryptids out there besides just Bigfoot, just Sasquatch. I hope I'm wrong about the dogmen. I hope it was a misidentification by my boss. But if it's right about the dogmen, I'm gonna have to take a hunting party out there with me, and we're gonna have to dispatch the dogmen. Sasquatch, we don't have to dispatch because most of the time in the lower 48, when Sasquatch are fed and they got a good feeding area, they pretty much leave humans alone. But don't get me wrong, they're not docile. If you get too close to them, they will attack you, they will rip you apart, and they will eat you. But for the most part, they won't. If the feeding in that area is good, they'll pretty much leave you alone. And only go in the woods when there's 2 or more people. If you're an individual and you want to go walk in the woods, take a rifle with you, take a sidearm with you, a firearm of some sort. And when it comes to Sasquatch, you could probably just carry along a couple of M80s and light off a couple of them. Those things, the firecrackers, they scare Sasquatch and any other animal, because Sasquatch don't like loud snapping sounds like a firecracker, or take a whistle with you, take an air whistle with you, or a horn or something with you. Those loud sounds will scare off a Sasquatch, and definitely, from what I understand, will scare off a dogman. So, because the loud pitch hurts their ears. So, you guys have a good night, good day, whatever it may be. I'm Jim with Life's Adventures, keeping it real.